Today, we're joined by Stephanie Romiszewski, who is a sleep physiologist. And Stephanie is going to talk to us about how we can get a better night's sleep. And I know, Stephanie, that you have your own clinics and you work with NHS Sleep Clinics, which is the British Health Service. But I just want to start with the most old-fashioned solutions for sleep, which were probably sleeping pills. And in a way, we're going to work back to what are the most modern solutions for sleep, in a way, Stephanie, because I think quite a lot of our audience are older. They might be with a doctor who just says, here's a sleeping pill, you know, and it's like them evolve to the modern way of being able to deal with it. So that's sleeping pills. And I think it's the biggest bit of information to take from this is you're not getting all that repair of your body necessarily. And that's the key thing of sleep and what it should be doing for you. If we go a step back from that and say, melatonin, because I now take melatonin instead of sleeping pills, but I'm taking it all the time. So I want to understand short-term and long-term use of melatonin.
So it's not like a sleeping pill. So melatonin is much more to do with the timing of your sleep. So we use melatonin in sleep clinics to fix people that have problems with their circadian rhythm. So circadian rhythm, for anyone who doesn't understand, it's any kind of physiological process that lasts around a 24-hour period. Your sleep-wake cycle being one of the most prominent ones. You've also got mood regulation, temperature regulation, food, hunger regulation. That's all circadian rhythms, and they all affect each other, by the way. So the more regular you are with one of them, the better you are going to be with the other. With melatonin, the way we use it is if we need to shift someone's timing of sleep. So there is something, for example, called advanced sleep phase syndrome and delayed sleep phase syndrome. These people literally genetically, they are genetically prone in advanced sleep phase syndrome to get to sleep much earlier. So they are literally feeling sleepy way before 9 p.m. I'm talking about 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon. Okay. It means they're waking up a lot earlier in the night. Or you've got delayed sleep phase where the opposite is true, and they will be going to bed late. And when I say late, I mean 3, 4,
2 o'clock.
But we will use light exposure and melatonin to actually shift their sleep-wake cycle to put it back to what they need it to be in our westernized society of a 9-to-5 life, because family, friends, everybody else is on that. Yeah. We do notice, because as we get older, melatonin levels do drop. In menopausal women, it drops even further. And so using melatonin to make sure you've got that initial, okay, we know we're supposed to start to feel sleepy now, as your brain needs, that can kind of be helpful. But in terms of if you're just using it for insomnia, for example, there's actually not very much evidence. If you're just struggling with fragmentation or just getting to sleep, but your actual schedule, when you can get it to work, is fine for you, that's when it's less helpful. And long term, it doesn't have the same kind of effects. We haven't researched it enough, by the way, to see real long-term effects. So, but it is a lot safer. But at the same time, I don't want anyone to feel like, who are watching this, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be on sleeping pills, because that fear and that anxiety makes the sleep problem worse. And actually, when I work with people, I'm like, look, until you see what I'm doing working for you and you trust in the process, you carry on with the sleeping pills. Because
so what things would you see working for them?
In the science as we know it right now, there is only one way to fix a long-term sleep problem. And long-term, I mean anything longer than 3 months, but we're dealing with people that have had it for decades. That is something called cognitive behavioural therapy for insomnia. But please do not confuse it with CBT for depression, anxiety, pain. I hate the fact that we call it CBTI. I wish we called it behavioural medicine, because that's what it is. And essentially what we're doing really is, firstly, a lot of the information we know about sleep is wrong. So our logic and what we're taught by our mums and dads, so the concept of having a sleep drive, nobody seems to understand that you've got to actually spend time awake to be asleep. So if you're fearing sleepiness, you're never going to fix your problem. And then the idea of sleep debt, it's not an eye for an eye. You can't lose 4 hours and gain 4 hours. That's not how it works. In fact, your brain is so amazingly, beautifully smart that it can actually take that deprivation. And if you don't change anything about your behavior, so what I mean is, don't take the sleeping pill, do not go to bed early just because you think you should. Yes, of course, as a byproduct, you're going to feel a bit sleepy, but sleepiness is exactly what you need in order to get sleep. We've taught people to fear it, and actually we need it. And with a bit of sleep deprivation, your brain can actually fix that process. So weirdly, a bad night's sleep can actually be good for you if you don't start compensating and thinking as a human, oh my God, I've heard not sleeping is really bad. We need to correct those behaviors. So that's the first thing we have to do. This advice, by the way, really important, is to help people get back on track. Now, I'm no saint. Of course, I don't do this all the time, but I do it most of the time. We need to make sure we consistently through the day do really good exercise and eating. Really important. Move, get light and eat, and do it consistently and at regular intervals. Don't muck up that process on a regular basis. The more consistent you are on a daily basis.
Get light. What do you mean, get light?
Yeah, so get light on it. So it doesn't matter if it's artificial, because at the end of the day, if you're up at 6 like me most of the time, you're not going to get any light outside. You can get light alarms, light boxes, or you don't have to spend money. It's a free resource. We've got it all around. Well, it's not free because you have to light your house, but even if you've got a bright light bulb, just a bright light bulb in a lamp, or going to your brightest rooms in the house for half an hour in the morning can be incredibly powerful.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not going to get to sleep at the same time every night. I'm going to stay up until I'm tired. I'm always going to get up at the same time. I'm going to move, get light on me, and eat properly. What else am I going to do?
So if you do wake up in the night, this is where people really start to get anxious. But at the end of the day, if you're unable to get back to sleep once you've resolved whatever it is, most people will try to force sleep. Now imagine if you were young and your teachers were shouting at you while you were trying to do a maths equation, you just wouldn't be able to do it. You would be upset, you'd maybe even be in tears. And that's what we're doing to our sleep. We're literally being so horrible to it. Yeah. And what we really need to do is think, okay, I haven't got a strong drive to sleep right now for whatever reason. Well, what I would do is I would leave the bedroom. I would continue with your evening activities. Yes, you can watch a bit of TV. You could do something. I want you to do something, and only you will know what this is, that makes you feel happy and content. And that's okay. Tell your brain, you know what? I'm resting. I'm out of the bedroom, so I don't have an association between the bedroom and not sleeping, which is not good because that's where the stress comes in. So with all these other things that I've asked you to do, I promise you, your brain will use the mild sleep deprivation that you've incurred to reset your sleep. But people,
and what if you then go and watch TV at that stage?
That's okay, just reduce the brightness. I get that blue light does have an effect on sleep, but here's the thing. If you've got a consistent sleep problem, you've got bigger fish to fry, and I want you to feel comfortable. I promise you, if you did this for 2-3 weeks, you would 100% see a quality difference and a duration difference in your sleep if you need it. So that's if you need it. Think about expectations here, because a lot of people think they should be getting 8 hours and they potentially aren't 8-hour sleepers.
Okay, let's talk about that. What kind of person and body and life stage requires what amount of time of sleep? How much sleep do we really need?
It seems to be around about somewhere like 6.5 to 9.5 hours of sleep. So that is a huge range, right? But guess what? There are people with genetic abnormalities that will sleep for less time. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's a small proportion of them, but they exist. And people need more sleep. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with those people.
I just want to ask you this then. That having, like, at the end of my bed, there's a huge computer, TV screen, because my partner likes that. There's a Sky box, there's 2 Apple boxes. There's, we both have phones. I have my iPad, my laptop probably.
Okay, it's less about that, and it's much more about what you associate with those things. So if you're going to a room at night that does not seem different from anywhere else in your house, in terms of you've worked there, you do other things but sleep there, and I don't mean sex, by the way, because sex is very good for sleep. So we're not talking about sex, but everything else you might do in the bedroom that is not sleep, like work, like watch TV, all these things, and you do it all the time. It's not, there's no difference for your sleep.
I only watch TV in the bedroom.
I wouldn't say it could be a perpetuating factor for not being able to sleep with good quality every single night. So what I would suggest there is, okay, just take the TV out, put it somewhere where you're happy to watch it right up until the point where you get sleepy.
So can I ask you a few little things now?
Yeah.
If you wake up in the middle of the night, is it really, and you need to go to the loo, there's a light always on in the bathroom. So I kind of go in and I do this.
That depends on how bright your lights are. So it is true that most people's bathrooms are really brightly lit. So if you want, the ideal, the gold standard would be that you have a way to light your floor, light the bathroom.
But not to have that bright light.
The less you sleep with good quality, the more you become sensitive to your surroundings. And it's a horrible vicious cycle. And if you came to see a sleep expert, which we do exist, because people think we don't, and they don't don't realize that it's a proper clinical condition. They get no validation or reassurance from their doctors, and that's really sad, but it's because they're not educated as well in medicine. It's a forgotten area, and so they don't realize that actually there is a treatment out there. There is something where we would actually, I talked about mild sleep deprivation and the idea of manipulating it to fix your sleep problem. And we would put you through a bit of a protocol, which is quite harsh for a few weeks, it's true, but we will make it easier for you. We will adapt it to your life, and we will make sure that you are sleeping by the end of it. There is a way to fix this problem.
And also, Stephanie, I think because we're at a stage in life where people want an immediate fix, and a pill is an immediate fix.
Yeah.
And doing something that takes 2-3 weeks, you're thinking, but I've got to get up early for work. I'm going to do that. You know, you kind of, it's like somebody who needs to go to rehab. You know, like, are you going to put 101 excuses in front of yourself, or are you going to realize that you actually, you know, have a problem and you need to just go in and get help? Love it. I mean, I could sit talking to you all night. It's so helpful. Even just talking to you now, I'm going to get a sense of what I should think about. And I think the thing I've picked so much from you, Stephanie, is set that morning time, because it's, you know, your body will know ultimately then how many hours it wants to be awake during the day, and then it will start to begin to tell you, and it's about listening to our body. You know,
absolutely.
So yes, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. It's important things like this where we educate people that actually make the difference. Like you said, we don't want people to get to the point where they have a sleep problem, they have to come to see me. Let's educate the kids. Let's educate all of us so that we don't get to that point.
Great. And we'll leave all your information below.